Hi, welcome to my channel, Fun Speech Path. My name is Lena. I'm a pediatric speech language pathologist, and today's video was inspired by a conversation that I had with a family that I work with, based on incorporating some of their older kids into activities so that all of their kids can participate and what can be done. So I mentioned cooking and of course arts and crafts things, but one of the best ways to do that is game night, right? It can be a little challenging though. So I decided to make a video and show anyone who this reaches how to adapt some games and modify them so that you can really incorporate your kiddo who is neurodivergent or has difficulty with impulsiveness, is a little cognitively younger than what they are chronologically. Basically, any kiddo who needs supports that are visual, verbal cues, repetitions, whatever. I'm going to show you how to incorporate that into a couple of different game options. So the first one, since I already showed you, is Trouble. I love this game, mostly because they get such a kick out of this little pop-o-matic thing. Um, they get to count, they also get to match colors. So at first, we don't throw our kiddos who have difficulty waiting into a situation where there are 4 players that they have to wait for, right? Or well, 3 other players in addition to themselves that they have to wait for. Set it up so that you are working with your kiddo one-on-one, and pick, you can, it depends on the child, depends on how impulsive they are, but you can try at first to give them one color and then you keep one color. I like to use the opposite, so if they choose red, then I'll make sure I tilt the board and I use yellow. Just because if it's further away from them, I have a little bit more time to react before they reach and start moving things when they're not supposed to. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal? If they want to move the piece, let them move a piece. It is a big deal when you're thinking about turning this into an entire family activity, right? Think about it. You have one kiddo that is reaching for another kiddo's piece. That's not going to go over well. And plus, it's just generally a good social skill to teach your child who's impulsive. They can't just reach for things that are not theirs. It is an important skill to work on. And this is one of the best ways to do that, using games. But back to Trouble. So you can have them count. That's receptive. By following directions, move your piece how many times. They look at it. If they move it once, wonderful. You can also work on verbally labeling if that's what the child needs. So that would be, pop and what's there? Number 5. Okay, let's move your piece. How many times? Say it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Go through all the numbers. It's also here. You know what? Let me show you what I would do. Let's get a piece of paper. Or actually, here, I have this. If you have a laminated sheet and a dry erase marker, you can use this just like you would a whiteboard. It will wipe off. Not the Wi-Fi whiteboard, not the, I guess you can. I don't know. My point is, you can write something with a dry erase marker on a laminated sheet and you can wipe it off, okay? That's what I mean. That's all I'm saying. So you have a visual of weight, and maybe work them into it, trace their hand. My hand is too big for this, so let's draw. Whoops. Whatever, you get it. Here's my hand. You say wait when it's your turn, and when it's their turn, they can push the card over to you for wait. That act of pushing and pulling the wait symbol is the visual and the action that they need to understand, okay, there's something called turn taking, and this is how it's applied. That's one tip. You can also create a card, and maybe I'll do that. I'll post a couple of cards that you can use for the rules of the game. And so you can have a card that says my turn and your turn on the other side. And when it's their turn, they have it in front of them. Sometimes I'll take the picture of the kiddo, put a little piece of Velcro, put that there. My turn, whose turn is it? And they get to say their name. That's, for a child who's working on that as their target. Everything that I use, I try to individualize it based on what the child's goals are. So you do that too. If your kiddo is working on identifying themselves, take their own photograph, laminate that, use Velcro to attach it to a visual and say during game night, whose turn is it? Let's find the picture. Whose turn is it? They have to find their picture and they put it on. You have a picture of yourself as well. Whose turn is it? It's Mama's turn to pick up the picture, put it on. Mama's turn. There's a visual. And they're learning to name the individuals in the family. Do that for every single person in your family. Take a picture of dad, sister, brother, aunt, grandmother, whoever is in the house. Laminate those. You can use that one picture for many different things. But back to games. Okay, so I described how you could use trouble. Another one that I love is Uno. It can't be simpler, especially these large cards. So I took these out because at least at first I don't want to complicate things too much. Keep it very simple. Either we're matching colors or we're matching numbers or both. Again, it depends on where the child is cognitively and their attention span and their level of impulsivity. But I do like to create, let's use this thing again, a visual of the rules. And I'll have something like this, either on the whiteboard or with a felt board. And so I have something that says rules, stick that on. And in each square, what are the rules of this game? Matching, if it's numbers, 2, 3, and if I want to do colors, I'll add a card with a couple of different dots, color those in. I do have markers. Oh, will this come up here? It's like watercolor, so this will wipe off. Let's do this quickly. I don't know if you'll be able to see the yellow, but you'll get a basic idea. Make a card with the rules that say match colors. So you have a yellow dot, red dot, I don't know, fill that in blue, whatever. And you have another card that has numbers. If you don't want to do colors that day, yeah, I know, I'm just using my finger. I'm going to have a ton of black spots all over. Whatever, you wash your hands, right? Here, if just for that day we're working on matching numbers, that's the only rule I put up. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to set it up so that I have all of the number ones, all the number twos from multiple colors. One, right? Go through. That's what's great about Uno. I take out the specials again. Draw 4, draw 3 here. So I've got yellow, I've got red, and I have green. I will take all of these out, match them. If your child is only counting up to 5, only go up to 5. If they've mastered, even 1 to 3, you can start to incorporate a couple more, do 1 to 6, and then another day. Add in 7 and 8 and 9. With 9 and 6, at least with these numbers on, the printed Uno cards, there's a line underneath. If it's going to be an issue, take it out. But they also have to learn to kind of deal with things and to learn eventually that the line underneath indicates that this is the bottom and this is how we write it. Take their finger and trace it. Make things a little more tactile so that they're actually looking at what it is that you want them to look at. If you're showing them here, let's find that number. They're flipping out, they're getting upset because they want to say 9. They turn it over, they want to say 9. Show them. Line goes on the bottom, line goes on the bottom, and let's trace. What number is this? It's 6. You've made it tactile. You're bringing their attention to the card. They're not going to be absorbing the information if they're looking somewhere else and they're getting upset and they're looking on the floor, they're reaching for something else. Control it so that they can learn. It's not going to be on the first go that they'll get it. Maybe it will. Some kids, they'll surprise you, but it's okay if you have to repeat it several times. Not a big deal. Just try. You want to challenge them a bit. You don't want to make it frustrating. Any activity, you don't want to make it frustrating. But there's nothing wrong with challenging them so that they learn a little more. Besides these, I also like, I threw out the packaging. I don't even know what this is called, but it's similar to Jenga. So I will use this for labeling colors, requesting, but also if I have a kiddo and I want to work on, let's see, how am I going to show you this? I didn't think that one through, did I? And I want them to work on action objects. So that would be like tap plus the object. I might say tap block, and that's the phrase that we use for the game. We'll do this. There we go. Tap block, let's tap. And control it. You don't have to make it too high. Maybe add another layer. And one more. Okay. There we go. So you do tap block, they do tap, 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 blue. You can also do the color, tap blue. They're labeling, identifying the color. If you have a ball like this, you can have them roll to pick a color. It's a great chance to use yes, no, start working on yes, no responses. Some of our kids, it's really difficult for them. So if you roll the ball, it comes up to purple. Is that blue? No. Is that green? No. Okay, roll again. Let's try again. Okay, there we go. Now, what is this? So they're answering a what question? What is this? It's green. So let's tap, tap, green. Tap, 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 green block. You're expanding on the utterance that you expect of them, which is action object or action color, by creating a three-word phrase, right? So you can expand on anything. That is why I love using games. They don't even know they're working. You can absolutely turn this into something that the whole family gets involved with. And guess what? It's even more models for them. If you want, as the adult, you want to give them more opportunities, tell them you need help. Act like, oh, I can't do this. Can you help me? What do we say? Let's do tap, 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 blue. Keep going. Tap, 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 more. Keep going, keep going. And let them tap, tap. And they get more opportunities. The likelihood of another kiddo giving up their turn for the other one to get practice, it depends. Some kids are really empathetic even in games. Not that they're not. They really are. Most kids are just good. It's circumstances that, bring out some behaviors. But when it comes to games, some kids are just competitive. That's okay. All right. So I hope you found this helpful. I will put up some cards that you can print out and use as visuals. So all you'll have to do is, print it out, cut it out, and then laminate. Again, I suggest if you have one sheet of paper with several squares of symbols or visual supports, cut them out first before laminating, just because if you laminate the entire sheet first and then go to cut them out, sometimes the edges will fray. So if they're pre-cut, then you have a good seal around them, okay? Let me know if you want some more ideas or if you want me to elaborate more on how to use games with kiddos to target receptive, expressive, and social skills. I can absolutely do that. But yeah, that's it for today. It's a pretty long video. 14 minutes of your time. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.